Hi, thanks so much for joining in. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit. My name is Alex Matthew and with me is Mahima Vajrajani. We will take you through the next 1 hour of trade. It is looking like a positive day today. There's been quite a bit of chop and churn, but we are higher for the benchmark indices and the broader market's also looking sanguine at this point. Let's pull those up. Not too far away from the high point of the day, up about 0.8% or so, and holding above the 23,500 mark for now. That's very close to the 200-day moving average. Let's see if we end above that point. It's going to be a critical level to watch. The broader market's looking more or less sanguine. They've lost a little bit of ground in the recent hour or so, just up about 0.4% for the mid-cap index and up about 0.6% or thereabouts, very close to the high point of the day again for the small cap index. And so as a result of which the market breadth is looking very pretty. As things stand right now, you have significantly more, in fact more than 2 gainers for every decline that you have in the market right now. Let's take a look at the sectoral indices as well, just to give you a sense of how things look. And you have green across the board there. It is again a pretty picture. You have, however, seen a drop in the VIX. This is something to note, of course. You've seen a significant amount of selling by foreign institutional investors. Now 37 days that they have been selling, and 1.65 lakh crore that has been sold on a net basis over that period of time. That has, of course, been matched by the domestic institutions. Let's very quickly take you through the contributors in the benchmark Nifty 50 as well, because that's going to give you a perspective on how things are moving. You have the banks that are in focus and also Reliance Industries that is gaining about 15 points is being contributed, not too much to speak of really. In fact, let's pull up the patchwork for the Nifty 50 just to give you a sense of how things are looking. And you'll see that there are not very many big movers in that patchwork there. Of course, you have a bounce back from the low point for Adani Enterprises, up about 3.7%, and the top gainer, State Bank of India, Tata Consumer rather, looking particularly good in trade right now. But InfoEdge is a counter that we talked about at the start, Mahima, and this is a counter that is doing particularly well. I think a lot of our viewers will be wondering, after the gain today and the Goldman Sachs double upgrade, should they also be buying into the stock? Absolutely, and
you know, the stock is up, trading around 5% higher as we speak. So GS has upgraded it to buy from sell before, and they've now given a target price of 8,600 versus that of 5,700 earlier. So this poses around a 14% upside from its yesterday's closing price, but right now the stock is up 5%. Now what the report says is that headwinds are easing for the company. They're seeing acceleration in the recruitment segment, and the better than expected outlook on growth and earnings has come in from the management, which is a positive sign, and earnings to get better. They expect 99acres to break even in calendar year 2025, and they remain bullish on Zomato, and they expect earnings upside risk going forward from now. So these are the key reasons why Goldman Sachs has, you know, upgraded it to buy and given a target price of around 8,600 for the stock, Alex.
Okay. All right. I believe we've got our experts in, Mahima. Let's go across to them. Rohan Mehta, who's the Chief Executive Officer and Fund Manager at Turtle Wealth, and Vaishali Parekh, who's the Vice President Technical Research at Prabhudas Lilladher, joining us this morning. Happy Friday to the both of you, and thanks so much as always for taking the time. Rohan, I'll come to you first. What do you make of InfoEdge? Would you be a buyer? It's up about 5% in trade today.
Oh yeah, it's a great company. It's a memory way back 10 years, but it's too expensive. You know, it has great things. A lot of new point is coming. 99acres, as rightly told, but still, it's very expensive on my side. I think so. In a lot of IT spaces, I'm getting much more economical valuation than InfoEdge. So it's a good company, but valuation doesn't match our requirements.
Avoid at this point. At that note, let me quickly tell our viewers, by the way, that number that you see flashing on your screen, that's where you can send questions to us. A lot of you already have. And there is also a YouTube channel, which I'm going to ask Mahima to log on to as I speak to you, and she's going to take your questions from there as well. Or either way, you can send your questions in. And the first one, I'm coming back to you on, Rohan. If you've got a view on Zinka Logistics and the IPO, we've got a viewer who's considering actually subscribing. Don't have a name here, but what's the view on the IPO? Or actually, it's a listing today, apologies. I've lost track with the number of IPOs and the listings that are taking place. Zinka is listed today. I believe it listed at 2% premium, but then it's now dropped off and it's now at the low point of the day, down about 3.7%. Would you buy right now, Rohan?
I'm sorry, I don't track the company. I'm not.
Okay, all right. Let's go to the next one.
The next query is from Lavanya, and she wants a long-term view on HCL Tech as well as Siemens. Vaishali, sorry for keeping you waiting. We have a lot of long-term queries, but Rohan, your view on HCL Tech and Siemens?
So I think so. HCL Tech is a great company. It's like it's like a turtle. It will go slow and steady, very consistent. If you see the numbers, they have always been done more better on a consistent way. Don't expect too much high on it, but HCL is a very, very interesting company on a lot of updates happening on the AI side of the business. So yeah, HCL is a great buy. And coming to Siemens, I believe Siemens, if you're holding, it's a hold. But for new buy, I don't think so. This valuation things matters. Maybe we can see a dip down into capex over 2 to 3 quarters again, and the sales also. So wait for the time of a bit correction of 20-25%, and then it could be an interesting buy.
All right. We've got Arvind who's tuning in from Jharkhand, and he's asking about Team Lease. Let's pull up the stock and see where it's currently trading. He hasn't mentioned his buy price. The stock is currently trading lower by just about 0.1%. In fact, it's flat, but it's dropped about 14.7. Vaishali, on the charts, if you have been holding for some time, would you get out at this point if you're holding onto gains?
Very good morning. So I would say keep a stop loss because the stock doesn't show any strength right now. But since it's corrected so much, I would say keep, now that you've held on for so long, keep a stop loss of 2,600. And I would say wait for this to bounce near 3,000 levels. That would be an ideal level to exit.
Right. The next question is from Ansh. He wants to have a view on MFSL, and he's bought around the price at which he's bought is 1235 per stock, and he wants to know whether he should keep holding this or book a loss at present. Vaishali, I come to you for this particular counter. Do you have a view on this one? How does it look on charts?
So chart, of course, we are seeing a corrective move, but again, it's corrected quite a bit. Hold with 1130 as a stop loss. And I think the way market is attempting to give a bounce back from here on, this too can give a bounce. The stock would have strength only if this sustains above 1240, and that would take it back towards 1300, 1400 targets. So I guess for now, key hold with a stop loss.
All right. Venkat Ramana from Hyderabad is asking this next question. He's asking about Paytm. It's been through the ringer, this stock, and he's looking to invest for the long term. He wants to put as much as ₹1,00,000 into this counter. The stock is up about 4.5% and it's recovered quite a bit. In fact, it's above where it was when it started that fall. So it's been through the roller coaster. Rohan, would you invest at this point though?
See, if you see on the quarter numbers, I think so this is the first quarter they posted positive returns, and we have seen that almost all the dust has been come out of the point. Again, after all the things happened, we have seen the prominent player in UPI is still Paytm. So if you are an investor in the percentage allocation, putting around about 5 and lesser, I think so Paytm is a great buy from here. It's a digital technology which we cannot evade, and it should be in the portfolio.
View coming in for Paytm. The next question is from Prudvi. She's holding 600 shares of PG Electroplast and sitting on a 20% profit at the moment. And she's saying, she's wondering what should be her next step. Vaishali, should she keep holding PG Electroplast? I mean, this stock has seen a significant momentum in the past few months. But do you think the momentum still sustains or she should exit?
Well, right now there is no sign of exhaustion in the stock. Continue holding with a trailing stop loss, because if this momentum continues, I think this can also go to a 720. So I would say it's a hold, but continue holding with a trailing stop loss.
Okay. All right. State Bank of India is the next stock that we're talking about. And I believe that there were a couple of notes on State Bank of India as well. I think Jeffries had a note, if I'm not mistaken. It's up and about in trade today, up as much as 3%. If I remember correctly, Jeffries is talking about a strong return on capital employed, 20%. It's looking good. And also, according to Jeffries, it does not expect that there's going to be a need for State Bank of India to raise capital. And we were discussing this just after the quarter results, because the Tier 1 capital, if I remember correctly, is just around that 10% mark. And it expects that there will be an improvement in the loan to deposit ratio. Rohan, all of these factors, of course, you've probably watched very closely. Stock is at 800 plus. Would you buy at this point is the question that Arjun Sureja is asking.
Yeah, first of all, let me put a disclaimer. We have a buy in that fund and our personal account has it. So on that bias, and of course on looking forward for all the data, I think so it's the most economical or a great valuation bank available at this point of juncture. Look at the numbers, look at the value it has, look at the subsidiary value it has. It is a crazy buy. And if you see still in the outperformance, still in a year scale of an outperformance, it has done much better than any of the larger banks. ICICI has done superior, and then second is SBI. So on that whole segment, we feel a lot of value, and it has to be. It is one of the most best bank contender or an NBFC or a finance contender in the portfolio.
The next question is from Arun, who's from Hyderabad, and his question is whether he can accumulate Axis Bank shares at this level. He's planning to buy around 50 odd shares. Vaishali, your view as to how Axis Bank is panning out on charts?
So Axis Bank, there's really nothing much happening, but all I can see is that among all the banking stocks, it's been quite a laggard, but 1120 acts as a very good support level. So if this support level is respected, I would say that yes, it's time to accumulate. But if by chance Bank Nifty further on gives way, and if you see further selling coming in Axis, I would see the stock going to 1090. So ideal thing right now would be to start accumulating from here on.
Accumulating Axis Bank, it has in fact been an underperformer, and well, the banking sector as a whole not doing too much. Speaking of the financial space, we've got a question from Samir Bhatnagar, who's asking about the microfinance space in general, and would you consider, Rohan, Credit Access Grameen in that space as a contender to add to your portfolio?
So Credit Access Grameen has had a lot of great value on the women's side of empowerment and only giving loan to women. But I think so that uniqueness was fizzling out, but because a lot of NBFCs started doing this small loan companies. But at this point of time where we have seen a steep correction, I think so it would not be bad to buy a bit of it for not a long-term point of view, but at least a 20 to 40% of a growth.
That's the view coming in on Credit Access. The next query is from Govind Bhatia. He has around 500 shares of Canara Bank bought at 110 a piece, and he wants a 5-year view on this particular counter, and he also wants to know whether he should add more or not. Rohan, I'll stick with you for this one. Your view on Canara Bank?
Yeah, see, there are a lot of banks onto the PSU side, and of course, NRI is one of them. But I still believe that if somebody is a long-term investor, SBI makes a lot of sense, less volatility, and more growth probabilities. So one can shift from a Canara Bank to an SBI.
All right. The next question I'm going to take is from Karunakar, and he's asking about Geo Financial Services, GFS, and he's wondering whether or not it can be bought for the long term. Vaishali, based on the charts, and we have enough data, I would think, to get a view from you on this one, would you suggest a fresh buy at this point?
I would say, well, there is really nothing much happening, but I would say keep a stop loss of the low that we had witnessed a few days back, that is around 298 levels. So 290 should be the stop loss, and I guess this stock can gather steam only about 345, 350. So for now, I would take it as a trading strategy. About 345, 350, there would be some more conviction for further upside. So yes, risk reward wise, it's a good buy at these levels.
Right. The next question is from Sailaja, who's from Hyderabad. She's holding Cochin Shipyard around 100 shares. She's bought it at 1678 a piece, and she wants to know whether she should keep holding it or sell at the moment. Vaishali, I'll stick with you for this one. Your view on Cochin Shipyard?
So I would say, of course, this has been bought with a longer term horizon. And I would say that, yes, I think the selling is pretty much over and one can see a good up move coming from here on. In my opinion, she can average it out at these levels.
Average out. Okay, which one did you, Cochin Shipyard? I'm curious about what Rohan has to say about this. Garden Reach also was in the news just, I think, overnight, if I'm not mistaken, on account of an order win. Rohan, what is your view on these companies?
I feel that it was already hyped so much when things were going out, because when this is a season type thing, when it happens with too much of the growth. So this already had happened. So we need to see what more growth companies posting over this quarter period of time. As of now, I would believe that both of the shipping counters what you have talked, it's an avoid from my side.
All right. The next question is from Surya Chandra, who's from Hyderabad. He's bought BSC at 4620. If you can pull up the BSC chart, I think around 200 shares is what he's bought, yes. And he's bought it at the levels of 4620. The stock is currently trading at 4688. He wants to know whether, what should be done with this particular stock. Vaishali, I'll come to you on this one. How does BSC look to you on the charts, considering, how earnings have panned out overall? But your view as to technically how strong does this stock look?
So it's become quite a sideways move right now, though the overall trend is up. So I would say, well, if it is for a shorter term period, 4450 should act as a support. So let's say 4450, 4480. If this closes below that, then the strength is negated. But till then, continue holding. We can look at a target of 4800 to 5200.
All right. I'm going to try and get a view on this. Prasad is writing all the way from Hong Kong, and wouldn't be right for me to ignore him. He's asking about Deepak Builders. I'm not sure if you have a view on this one, Rohan. This is a very small company, less than 1,000 crore. Would you have a view on this one? He's lost value since the issue.
No, I'm sorry, I've not tracked this company at all.
All right. So no coverage, unfortunately, Prasad. It's a very small company, as I mentioned. Let's talk. Okay, so BSE we've just done. Let's take the next question from Sheikh Ilyas, who is writing from Andhra Pradesh, and he's asking about Clean Science and Technology, which he has bought at levels of 1,629. What would you do with this one, Rohan? On the fundamentals, would you hold on?
Yeah, Clean Science, it was interesting, and then there was some stake sale which happened. I would see still it's a very expensive one to the downside, and the story has already been fizzed out. So let us say the company, when it makes a number of nearly over 90 crores on a PAT on quarter wise, or something which has been exceptional, then only I would go through. But rest it would be a word from my side.
All right, so it's an avoid for Clean Science from Rohan. The next query is on IIFL Security. Now, Ashish Das has bought around 50 shares of IIFL Securities at 365 a piece, and he's planning to keep this at least for the next 2 years. And he wants a view on this particular counter. Rohan, I'll stick with you for this one. Your view on IIFL Securities?
I think so. It's decent. The way the things have happened into the company means the valuation, the way it has been there. So one can hold IIFL Securities and also look forward for Nuvama as a wealth management side. So it is a hold and a fresh buy recommendation also.
Okay, so we've got a question from Lata, who's asking about Ease My Trip, and she's wondering whether or not to hold or sell at this juncture. This is a question sent on WhatsApp. It's trading at 29. It has given up quite a bit of ground. There was selling by promoters earlier in the year, not too long back actually, and that's put pressure, I believe, on the downside. Vaishali, on the technicals though, anything to suggest that a bottom has been found, or would you think that there is more downside to look forward to?
So I would say, it's attempting to make a double bottom at 28 rupees. So now that the person has waited for so long, may as well wait. If it goes below 28, then definitely exit. But I guess this is a stock which he or she can exit at, let's see, the first term target would be at around 35. If we see the stock moving above 35 and sustaining, then probably 40. 40 is the level that would show a good, strong resistance. That would be the level to exit for sure.
All right.
Okay. I just want to point out before we take the next question, we are taking questions from YouTube as I had suggested earlier. In fact, both of us are on that chat as well. So if you'd like to log into our live feed and take a look at the comment section, then make sure that you tell us your name as well as the stock that you'd like to know about. What are we taking next?
The next query is on Inox Wind. Well, we don't have the full name. Okay, we have the full name. Amit Rastogi is asking this question, and he's bought Inox Wind at 130 a piece. He's not given us the quantity, but 130 is the price, and he wants a view as to from a long-term perspective. So his investment horizon is between 1 to 2 years. So Rohan, your view on Inox Wind?
So there are a lot of things which was happening in Inox Wind with the capex, with the things what it is. But look at what has happened in last 2 quarters. It has been the story has started to get discounted, and the numbers have been not been great. So trading at 130 times of valuation, I would say that it's not a stock which if it does bad, then it will do terrifically very bad, and if it does good, it could be discounted with good. So on that point of time, I would say that it's an avoid or a sell from my side.
Anup from Kerala has got the next question. He's asking about IREDA for the next 6 months. He's bought at levels of 64 and a quantum of 3 lakh rupees. The stock is currently trading nearly 3 times that value. Vaishali, would you take money off the table?
I'll just have a look.
Yeah, so it's had a pretty good run.
Yes, so I think this stock also has given a substantial corrective move, and now it's at a support of 175 levels. So I think we are expecting a bounce overall in the market. So I think this stock is worth exiting at around 200 to 220.
All right, the next query is from Ansh Chaudhary from Jammu. He has 300 shares of SW Solar averaged at 630 a piece. He wants to know, should I hold it for a long term, from a long term perspective? Rohan, do you have a view on SW Solar?
No, I've not tracked the company.
All right, then we'll move on to Amit Kumar Jha. He has around 2,400 quantities of Electroforce. I believe this is also a very small market cap stock, but Electroforce India, Rohan, if you have a view on that?
Sorry, I don't have.
All
Why don't
right.
we take a view on Sterling and Wilson Solar, at least on the technicals? If you've bought at levels of 630 at an average price, Vaishali, on the charts, what are the indicators telling you?
Actually, the stock has really shown signs of weakness. But if I'm looking at the weekly chart, I think 450 should act as a good support level. And that still doesn't damage the trend because the breakout had taken place right from 450, 460. So one can consider adding more at these levels, maybe to expect a bounce and lower the cost of purchase.
Gautam from Mumbai has got the next question. He's asking if any specific sector is good for investment right now other than banking after this correction for the next 12 to 18 months. Rohan, we're speaking to fund managers as well, and while a few of them have said that they've started deploying, not all of them have. In fact, we recently spoke to someone who's still holding 80% cash. Would you say that there are opportunities that have emerged based on the kind of drop that we've seen over the last few weeks though?
So I'm a data guy. I'll not tell stories. I'll tell you the figures. From 750 companies, only 20% of the company has done an all-time high numbers, and from that only from 20%, that 20% companies have done decent in the price and outperformance. So it's very hard to, as of now, pick up the stock just because market is tanked. But we're looking forward for consumer durables as a very interesting business sector to look forward for, and also seeing opportunities in pharma. But yeah, still there is no prevalent point to say that market will correct or market will recover to an all-time high in this quarter because number doesn't say so.
The next query is from Gautam Kumar, who's from Karnataka. Now, I don't know, Rohan, whether you have a view on NTPC Green IPO, but if yes, he wants to know whether it's the right decision to apply for NTPC Green IPO.
No, I'm no IPO.
All right. The next question is from Satya. He's asking a couple of stock ideas for the next 1 to 3 months, and he also wants to know the targets and stop loss for the same. Vaishali, what would your picks be?
You want trading strategies? That's what you're asking me?
Yeah, so he wants a couple of stock ideas for the next 1 to 3 months, and he wants to know the target as well as stop loss for these stocks.
Definitely. So, well, right now, as we see that hotel industry is doing reasonably well, and Indian Hotel has already shown its good up move. So, right now, I would focus on Lemon Tree. Lemon Tree technically also looks very good. So, I would say 110, 115 should be the support level. So, it gets negated below that. But I would say, yes, this is a good buy right now for a positional trading strategy of a target of 140, 145. The other one, well, I would lay my bets on Ambuja. So with a stop loss of 475, I would recommend a buy for a target of 550. The stock has already shown a good bounce right now. So I would say, wait for a dip to buy again. And overall, as you see, cement counter is also doing very well. So the other stock that I would like is Grasim as well. And in the realty counter, I think I like Loda. Loda is looking quite fairly priced. So that is one stock which is technically very well placed, and I would look for a target of 1500.
I do want to point out Ambuja is a group company of the Adani Group, and so is NDTV Profit, which is owned, of course, by the NDTV Group.
And I'll take the first question from the YouTube Live itself. Adarsh Kumar is asking that at what levels Vari Energies should be bought. If we can pull up Vari Energies' performance since its issue price, we'll see that it's seen a significant downtick from there. But Rohan, do you think that this is the right level to enter Vari Energies, or do you think there is more scope for it to go down?
Yeah, so I belong from the place where most of the most of the solar projects has been done. I'll tell you the level of competition the things are getting is crazy. So Vari has a of course positive point on the the leadership style, and they have 1 rupee more. But I would still believe that the competition are extremely high on that point, and the stock is not cheaper in the valuation point of time. So this is the time where for 4 to 6 months, I think so it's an avoid, and then look forward for when the real selling comes from the pre-listing or pre-IPO investors, and then we can take ahead this thing. For as of now, it's a avoid.
Right. Stock is significantly higher than the issue price. Let's talk about. So Paytm, we've already taken a fundamental view with Rohan, and he believes that it should be part of your portfolio.
Right. I mean, the next question, Alex, is from, okay, D. Mazmudar, who's from Rourkela, Odisha, and he wants a view on Paytm. Rohan, you've already given your view on Paytm, but Vaishali, as per the charts, is this the right time to enter Paytm?
I don't think so, because the stock has one way moved and it's now coming closer towards the resistance level of 920. So ideal level, if there is a dip coming towards 750, that would be an ideal level to look for higher targets. So in fact, even we have recommended this stock to our clients right from 600 levels. And 920 is a level that we are looking at, which is a resistance. So I would say that would not give a good risk reward wise new entry strategy at these levels. So I would say wait for a dip for a fresh buy.
All right. The next query is on Tata Motors. Now this is from Ritu, who's from Mumbai. She's bought it at the levels of 811. The stock is currently trading at 778, and she wants to know whether what should be the next course of action. Rohan, your view on Tata Motors, should she keep holding it or she should sell it at this level?
So if she's holding, then I think so it's a clean hold right now. But I would always prefer an M&M versus a Tata Motors. But still at this valuation, I believe there's nothing to lose much into Tata Motors.
All right. Let's take the next query from our YouTube Live. Ramesh Bhai Padalia is asking, what is the right time to buy Reliance? Should I wait for more downside, or is this the right level to enter? Now, he's from Rajkot. Vaishali, I'll come to you on this one. Is this the right time to enter Reliance, or there's more downside from here for the stock?
See, exact bottom is very hard to tell, but technically I would say 1180 is a very good support level. So I would say start accumulating from here on, because the stock has witnessed a lot of erosion, and I guess these are the levels from here on, start accumulating.
I'm actually going to try and get a view on this, Rohan. RPSG Ventures, the name of the counter. Mayank Saraf, who's writing from New Delhi, is pointing out that this is a stock that, or this is a company that holds 54% stake in First Source Solutions, The market capitalization is, or rather based on market cap, it's still trading at a very significant discount to the holding it has in First Source Solutions. It's listed as a promoter of First Source, which has a market capitalization of about 25,000 crore or thereabouts. Would you buy into this from the perspective of 2 years? He's already holding at levels of 850.
You see, I'm not seeing this company on to this level, but my experience is that if you like a company, then don't buy the subsidiary company, buy that direct company only because it makes a lot of value on that side. So neutral on the recommendation because I don't know how it has been placed in our PSG.
Let me very quickly also take a technical view because the stock has done very, very well in August. And if I'm not mistaken, that is when the regulations came through on the pricing mechanism for holding companies. And you saw a significant spike in this particular stock. But then after that, it's more or less been range bound. Vaishali, any indications on what the chart is showing?
I guess, well, the stock witnessed a sideways move. The trend is quite good. So, the range right now is around 950 to 1100 levels, 1150. So once we see the stock moving above that, it gets into further new round of momentum for higher targets. So I guess I would make a choice to buy right now.
Right, our next viewer is Nimesh, who's from New Jersey, USA. He's purchased Dabur around 100 shares at 643 a piece, and he wants to know whether he should sell or hold. I mean, FMCG as a whole, Rohan, has faced a lot of pressure in Q2, and we'll expect that Q3 and Q4 will also pan out the same way, you know, considering the kind of raw material inflation that we are seeing. But your view on Dabur from a long-term perspective?
I think so. The story is out. It's the startup space have taken a lot of spaces of this, all the companies, and there's nothing new which is coming from this company, not the product, not the direction, not the marketing side, which Colgate did, and it was very interesting. So, not clearly a buy, and rather than I would say that, you know, if you're not an emotional investor, it's a sell.
Okay, all right. Mridul Sapra from Chandigarh is asking about Akums, which he's bought at levels of 850. He's wondering whether he should continue to stay invested for the long term. Rohan, what's the story like fundamentally?
I'm sorry, I don't track Akram.
Akums. Okay, so let's go across to Vaishali on Akums. Would you stay invested at levels of, if you bought at levels of 850, Vaishali?
Well, will you please spell it because I'm not getting the name right?
Akum. A-K-U-M. Akums. AKUMS, drugs and pharmaceuticals. It is currently at an upper circuit right now.
640 right now.
Yeah.
Well, it's really not much to say. I mean, there's not a good trend. I mean, it's just a very erratic move. I won't be able to comment, but continue holding with the trading stop loss. Maybe you can see this one way because going circuit after circuit, this can go towards 800.
The next query that we're taking from our YouTube live is from Chetan Kadam. Now, he's bought 4,500 shares of Varun Beverages at 250 a piece, and he's from Pune, and he probably wants a view on this particular counter. Let's pull up Varun Beverages and see what the stock has done. It's been gaining in the past few days, but overall this year has not been very good for the stock, but there are new developments which are taking place, but he's sitting on significant profits because the stock is currently trading at 616. So Rohan, quickly I'll come to you, your view on Varun Beverages?
Yeah, see, it's a decent company, but you have to also see the point that next 2 to 3 years, if an investor is ready to take the consolidation on the head, then only he should be an investor because we feel now that growth is not going to be that consistent, which we had seen in 3 to 5 years because a lot of the things has been already been discounted. So if you can see a consolidation, it's a great company, but I don't think so that the growth is going to be that stable now.
All right. What about Page Industries? Would it be a good buy for the long term at this price? And we've got Aditya who's wondering about the next 5 to 7 years. The stock is not cheap, both on fundamentals as well as in terms of ticket price. You should be able to shell that out. But then I'm just wondering, Vaishali, if you can say anything on the technical levels that you see on the charts?
So technically, I think the stock is doing very well. And to those who are holding, should continue holding, because now if you look at the weekly chart also, the stock has surged very well, and currently it has just retraced a bit. So as long as 44,000, 43,500 levels are intact, I think my longer term horizon would be looking at 50,000, 52,000 levels.
Alright, the next query that we're taking from a YouTube live is from Amit Kumar Jha. He's bought 1,556 shares of Vodafone Idea at 13.55 a piece. And considering, the kind of downtick the stock has seen since yesterday after the TRI data, Rohan, your view on the stock, whether, he should sell it or what should be the next course of action?
Pure sell, no other discussion.
All right, so it's a pure sell for Vodafone Idea, Alex.
Yeah, all right. So, not even going into the details. Let's talk about Vedanta then. And Dinesh is pointing out that we've not responded to his messages for a while. Dinesh, unfortunately, it's Mahima and I that respond live on this program, and we don't really look at the chat after. As you probably understand, we have to get into other stuff. So we may not be able to respond to each chat, but we try and take as many as possible. Please don't think that we're ignoring you on purpose. I will take your question on Vedanta. You are holding at a price of 308, and 220 is the number of shares that you've held. You would like to buy more at the current market price, and you're wondering if this is the right time. Vaishali, on the charts, he's holding on to gains at this point. He's wondering whether to add more for the long term.
So, well, 430 should be the level to watch, and that would be the support level. So, I guess accumulation should be the strategy. 400 is the crucial support for a longer term perspective. And since we are not sure whether the market is taking bottoming out over here or we see further downside, so I think for a long term perspective, accumulate with 400 as your support.
All right, so that's the view coming in for Vedanta. The next query is from Nitin, who's from Mumbai. He has 150 shares of Nerolac since the last 2 years. And he's saying that it's 19% down and he wants to have a view on this. Can he keep holding it from a long-term perspective? I mean, if it turns into profit is what he's asking. Rohan, I'll come to you on this one. Paint space overall has been seeing a lot of competitive intensity. The big players itself are, kind of not trying to catch up with the competition and the volumes. Compared to Kansai and Nerolac, compared to those players, Kansai and Nerolac is a small one. So your view on this counter?
Completely. I would believe that first of all, it's not a leader, and leader also is facing a problem. Then, of course, the laggards are going to face more hit, more margin contraction, and more demand off. So it's a pure sell from my side. And it's, as such, if you've seen that Kansai has not done anything great if you compare to a Berger or an Asian. So on that scale, it's a pure sell.
All right, the next question we're taking is from Hansraj, and he's asking about HB Power. He's holding at a price of 99. Let's pull up the chart and see where it's currently trading. He's got 500 shares. The stock is currently trading at, I hope that this is the right counter that we've pulled up. The stock is currently trading at 561. Based on the charts, HBL Power, Vaishali, what would you do?
I think continue holding because the stock is showing signs of revival once again. And I think the longer term chart also looks very good. In all likelihood, this can once again go towards 700 levels. So yes, continue holding.
All right. It is time, of course, on the show to head into the rapid fire round. This is where Rohan and Vaishali, we throw as many questions at you as possible over the course of 2 minutes. Do try and answer as quickly as you possibly can. The first question is coming from Harsh, who's writing in from Surat, and he's asking about Subex. Do you have a view, Rohan?
No, I don't have that.
Okay, on Subex, Vaishali, if you bought at levels of 42, would you hold on?
Well, again, like all stocks, this is oversold. Wait, hold for a target of 30.
All right, Sridharan from Coimbatore is asking a view on Titan. Rohan, your view on Titan?
Should book profits or exit out the Titan.
All right. Govind Bhatia is asking about JSW Infra at the price of 328. Would you add more at the current price is the question, Vaishali?
I would say add more. 290 is the support, so add accordingly.
Okay, Prasad is asking whether this is the right time to enter IDFC First Bank or not. Vaishali, I'll stick with you for this one.
Yes, with a strict stop loss of IDFC First Bank, you said, right? So
Yes.
60 should be the stop loss and buy.
I think we've already taken a view on IRIDA on the fundamentals, but I'm going to go across to you on the technicals. We've got Muralidhar, who's got at, I do not know the buy price, but he's got 2,500 shares, assuming that he's bought a while back. Vaishali, would you hold?
I would say yes, hold, because if long term is a thing, then hold, and at least for 200, hold, and then we can have a deal.
All right. Kumar, he's a senior citizen. He's saying he's bought Suzlon 500 shares at 67. Can he keep holding it? Rohan, your view on Suzlon?
Keep it on hold, but I think so you need to also have a technical stop loss because Suzlon is more now a momentum rather than anything else. So taking a technical stop loss, you should hold on onto the point. There is a turnaround story for sure.
Okay. Persistent Systems is the next counter, and I'm coming to you, Vaishali, on this one. We've got a question from Ravindra, who's bought at levels of 1,890, and the stock is, well, he's making quite a bit of money. Should he hold on? He's a long-term investor, so therefore he's not in a hurry. Price target and level to watch if you can give.
So, well, yes, continue holding with a trailing stop loss, and the stop loss should be 5,200.
All right. Rohan as well as Vaishali, thank you so much for joining in, for answering all the questions that you did. Always a pleasure having you on the program. And in fact, to the viewers that have gotten answers to their questions, I hope that this helps you. To everybody else, I hope that the stocks that we've discussed will benefit you at some point anyway. Now let's get you some updates on the global front. In fact, we've got an update on Donald Trump as he prepares to take office. Experts are weighing in on his policies. Mark Matthews of Julius Baer expects the Federal Reserve to slash rates in January and in March. And he also believes that earnings forecast for India will be revised higher with more government spending and a boost from the upcoming wedding season. Here's a slice of his conversation with NDTV Profit.
We have very little clarity on the trajectory for interest rates now because of all of that you've just elucidated. And so, whereas we had previously been looking for a terminal rate to come sometime in 2026 at around the 3.5% level on the Fed funds rate, we don't have that visibility now. So we're saying that we think the Fed will cut not in December, but in January and March. But then after March, we have no clarity. So for now, we've penciled in a Fed funds rate at 4.25%. And from there, we'll just have to see. Probably it will go down some more, but I can't say when the next cut will be after that. We'll have a lot more visibility by the time we get to March. We'll know what the cabinet looks like, what this second Trump administration is looking like. Too many moving parts now to say for with any degree of reliability. But clearly the markets are not that fussed about it. I think we're in a melt up actually now with the stock market, and there's a few little signs of that. Bitcoin's about to go over $100,000. I think there was an auction at Sotheby's of a banana stuck to a wall with duct tape for $6.2 million. It was a cryptocurrency entrepreneur who bought it. So to me, these are classic signals of a market which has the animal spirits running very strongly. And I think we're melting up. But I think we're also moving into territory which is beyond fair value. Now, frequently markets do go way into what is beyond fair value. They go into bubbles. I would just say we're on the verge of moving into that kind of territory today.
That, of course, is with regard to what's happening on Wall Street. And I think, Mark, you may agree with me here. Like I said, in May 2024, the NASDAQ and the S&P were hit quite hard. And we were talking about a recession and the US economy slowing down and consumption looking distraught. Very different from what you and me just talked about right now. I feel like India is in a little bit of a situation, in a similar situation. We've had earnings that have disappointed. Foreigners are selling India, not because of India alone, but also because the US looks so much more attractive today. Are you concerned with what's happening on the Indian macros and micros? Because earnings this quarter, just like we'd seen on Wall Street a few quarters ago, are disappointing.
I'm not concerned. I think that it's nice the market is pulled back. And in fact, it makes it look quite attractive relative to most other markets. The Nifty is up, I think, around 8% so far this year. Most other Asian markets are up twice as much. Japan's up, I think, around 25%, and of course the U.S. is as well. So if I was looking at markets to put out in new money now, I'd be looking at India, and I'd say, well, it hasn't gone up as much as all those other ones, and as much as you've seen a downward revision in earnings forecasts. I think there's reason to be optimistic that they're going to get revised back up again, because I think you're going to get more government spending. I think you're going to have a good Rabi grain harvest, and I think the wedding season will be helpful for consumer spending. And when I look at the economic growth that is forecast for India over the next 2 years, it will be 6% next year, and probably over 6% the year after that too, which should translate into double-digit earnings growth. So I think India looks absolutely fine. In fact, good.
In fact, Mark, you've always been quite the believer in India, right? I mean, you also called us a very superior market to the likes of China. Of course, a few weeks ago, we were all fretting about losing foreign inflow to Chinese markets. That didn't last too long. What I want to get from you is, sure, we're expensive. You do think the wedding season is going to be good for us. We'll go back into double-digit growth. Where is the opportunity? Is it consumption? Is it banks? Is it global-facing sectors? Is it infrastructure? If government spending is going to pick up, where would you place your bets if you had the incremental capital on the sidelines?
Consumption and banks. I think those are the two that would benefit the most.
I'm going to quickly interrupt you there. When you say consumption, are we sticking with rural consumption? Are you sticking with urban consumption? Are you sticking with luxury spends? Are you sticking with discretionary or staples? The reason I ask is because what we saw this quarter is, while rural consumption has picked up in India for reasons that you mentioned, like a good Rabi, urban consumption has slowed down. So where do you think the bias on consumption is? And of course, then continue with your other sector calls.
Rural. So rural consumption and the private sector banks would be my two favorite destinations for new money in India right now.
I wanted to get your sense on why we have seen this quantum of outflows from foreign investors, and when do you see that turning? Or do you think we're at the end of that cycle?
I think the first thing was the 180-degree turn that the Chinese made on their economic policy a few months ago, which saw a reinterest in China after a long time where people weren't looking at it. And then the strength in the dollar over the last, since September, dollar's up about 7%. And so it's very difficult for markets in Asia to attract money when the dollar is going up. Those are the two reasons.
So you think this is, so it started with a China trigger, and now it's come to a strong dollar as a reason. None of those looking like they will change anytime soon. So is this the kind of trend you expect to continue seeing as far as foreign flows in India are concerned, or is it more foreign outflows?
I can't really guess what people are going to do with their money, but I like India. It's up to other people whether they want to like it or not. I mean, the dollar index at 107, it typically doesn't go much higher than this, and so I don't think the dollar should go much higher than where it is now. Although, admittedly, the European economy looks very weak, and 2/3 of the dollar index is the euro, but. Everything has a price. I think the dollar is moving into overvalued territory here. And as for China, actually that story has waned. I like China myself, very much the opposite of India. It's a value investment. India is a growth investment. China's a value investment. But the economic stimulus in China actually has petered out a little bit. Now, I think they're going to come out with more, but it won't be a big bazooka like it was after the global financial crisis, because they don't want capital to be misallocated. as it was back then. So what you get is incremental stimulus in China. I don't think on its own that's going to drive a lot of money into China. I think that market can move up slowly and steadily. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't expect a lot of money to be going into China from the rest of the world next year. So I actually, therefore, sorry, long-winded answer, both of those catalysts for the outflows that we have seen on the part of foreign investors from India, I don't really see them sustaining themselves.